Good afternoon. Welcome to the Union County School Board work session for January 16th, 2018. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to also welcome all visitors and guests. David Murphy, would you care to do the invocation?
Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this and every day that we have to draw closer to you, Father. Father, I just ask that as we go throughout a new calendar year, Father, that we draw all of our inspiration and wisdom from you. May we seek to help everyone that's in our charge. May we embolden all of our students. May we strengthen our community. Father, may your light shine through us to a darkened world. All these things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Okay, first item is of the discussion items is the ESPLOST resolution and ballot question review. Dr. Rayfield?
Yes, Madam Chairman, you will note that this is an item for discussion and answering questions during the 6 o'clock meeting. It's also included as a recommendation for approval on the 7 o'clock agenda. We have been involved in this process for several months now. You'll remember that we first started with formulating a project list and talking about timelines. The timeline for us to get the resolution ready for your review was for the January board meeting, and I'm happy to say that you should have received that in an attachment. It is a draft resolution ballot question for your review and approval. We did vote on the parameters for the ESPLOST in November, and those included the things that the SPLOST would be, the projects that they would be funding and the areas in which the funding would be used in the school system. They also included some language for the ability to sell bonds if needed, but the board indicated a very strong feeling that that would not have to happen and should not happen, and that has been the case with the SPLOST that we are under now. All of our projects are pay as we go, and there is no borrowed money. This is a continuation, proposes a continuation of a 1 cent sales tax, so it is not a new tax. It is just continuing the 1 cent collection that we have been under here in Union County. I did ask Corey Kirby with Harbin, Hartley, and Hawkins. They are the ones that work with us on the legal side of this. You've heard from Gabe Agan from Raven James when he came and worked with us on our parameters. So at this time, I'll let you kind of walk through the document that we're sharing tonight, Corey. Thank you for coming.
Sure. Thank y'all for letting me be here. I have these copies if everybody doesn't have a copy. Why don't you hang on to that? There you go. Excellent. Got one. Hang on to that. I assume y'all have had a chance to review it and kind of have an idea of what we're looking at. I don't want to belabor the point because y'all have done a good job of getting to this point, but I think it's important that you understand what you're looking at and what you're not looking at. What this resolution does is it is a resolution of this board to call and hold an election in May to receive voter approval to reimpose a 1% sales and use tax. As Dr. Rayfield said, this is not something that's new. It's one that you all currently have in existence. And what you're doing is just continuing that for another term. SPLOST is for no more than 5 years. You have a cap of, I believe it's $21 million for collection. If you look on page 5, that would actually be the proposed ballot language that each elector would see right there. So you can see that the cap for the SPLOST is approximately $21 million. And you have a general listing there of 1 through 6 that sets forth the potential projects and proposed projects that you all would like to potentially use the SPLOST funds for. In addition, as Dr. Rayfield said, You also have had the forethought to look at the possibility in seeking the authority to issue general obligation debt, not to exceed $13.5 million. Now, as you all know, there's no requirement that you issue these bonds. It's just if you don't seek the authority now with the SPLOST, then you would have to do some other type of financing afterwards if it comes up that you need to actually issue bonds. My understanding from Dr. Rayfield is that's not your idea, that's not your intent, but you have the forethought to at least include that on there. Just so you know, I think it's important that if you flip to page 7, I want you all to pay attention to that. We have page 7. If you look at the bottom right here, what you'll see is you'll see a couple of things that I think are important for you. Number one, you're going to see a generalized debt service schedule from 2019 to 2023. And that's basically set forth the principal to be paid. One of the more important aspects of this that I don't think you'll pick up on is if you look, there is a not to exceed interest rate of 6%. So basically what that is saying is you all agree that if you decide, in the unlikely event, to issue bonds, that you have a not to exceed interest rate of 6% for those bonds. If it goes higher than 6%, you're not issuing them. If it goes higher than 6%, I'll be shocked right now because money is a little cheap to borrow. But in any event, that's where it is. That is it in a nutshell as far as the actual resolution itself. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer for them?
I know your firm previously was also involved in the previous
Yes, ma'am.
issues, and the wording is the same as before as far as, we did not issue bonds before. We have no intentions of issuing them. Only in the event of a catastrophe would it even be considered. However, it's been a statement that's always been on the ESPLOST, and it's why we felt that it needed to remain, was we can't foresee what could happen in 5 years.
I can answer that. Yes,
My
ma'am.
question is,
Your
this is the same.
previous, well, the SPLOST referendum that you all have for your current SPLOST, which is currently being
Yes.
collected, did include the authority to issue general obligation debt if the board decided it was necessary. And you decided to include that in this one as well. It's not unusual to do that. Some folks do, some districts do, some districts don't. But you all have done that at least for this second go around, for this reimposition of the SPLOST. Anything else I can answer for anyone? The one thing I would ask is that if you all do approve the referendum resolution, if you all can sign 3 copies, keep 1, and then let me have 2. Okay? Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Paul.
Next item on the